This is about the Pinal Truth Squad. What you're about to see is a representation of why the Pinal Truth Squad exists. We put the Pinal Truth Squad together because this community deserves to know fact. There's a lot of emotion that flies on both sides of a lot of issues out here, and a lot of it is driven, unfortunately, by a utility owner of all things. Mr. Johnson is driving his point of view, basically ramming it down our throats. And I'm not about that. I think our citizens out here deserve to know the facts on both sides of the issue. And they should be able to speak out without fear. A lot of the things that come out of here, out of people's mouths, if they speak ill of Mr. Johnson or his utility company, maybe they're deserving, maybe it's not, but oftentimes they're sued. That's the tactic that's been used in the past. It's my hope that through the Pinal Truth Squad, citizens will join in, step up, and speak their mind, and without fear of reprisal. I will be the one that gets sued as things come through here. And we have the resources, thanks to people like you, who contribute in the form of $5, $10, to build our defense fund, knowing that we're going to need it, and as we work for the truth. Now, if you have an axe to grind, that's not what this is about. If you're going to make up stuff just to hurt somebody, that's not what this is about. This is about talking about your issues, your experiences, and deal in fact, deal in the truth. And we know that if we work together and we get the facts out there, and if we have somebody willing to stand up and take the blows, which we know are coming, that we can accomplish a lot. That's my role today. Take the blows. And I'm fine with that. Obviously, I've been doing that for 3 years for this community. So stand with me. You don't have to stand up front. You don't have to worry about getting hit in the head. But I need to know that you're back there behind me. And I'm speaking for you. You want to be up front? That's fine. But right now, I'm happy to speak for you. But I'm only going to speak the truth. I'm only going to talk in fact. And I don't have an axe to grind. I just want this community to feel that they have control of their community. Thanks for watching this. And check us out online and learn more. Learn more about this. And you decide what you believe is the truth. Well, first, welcome. I want to welcome you all to Santa Flat. If you haven't been here before, this is a good time. This is a nice place. I recommend you come back or stay around and eat some more dinner tonight. Speaking of dinner, there's a lot of food here, so take what you like. If you want to take some home, feel free to do that as well. My name is Bryan Martyn, and I live in Santan Valley, and that's really the gist of it. There are some other positions that I hold that are irrelevant to what we're talking about today. I know it will come up, so I'll address it as it comes up, but that's not the position I'm in. You're here to listen, to find out a little bit more about the Pinal Truth Squad, and we'll answer all those questions. There's not a question you'll ask today that I won't give you my honest answer. Those that know me know I tell you what I think, how I believe, and you don't always have to just agree with it, but I will hear your side of the story as well. The Pinal Truth Squad, I've been out in this community, serving this community, living in this community for a number of years, and I've been at war with a guy, and I think war is the right way to put it, with a business owner out here who has a practice of, a documented practice of kind of being a bully. Basically, if somebody says, historically, if somebody says something that could be seen as somewhat derogatory towards him personally or his company, his general first course of action is litigation. And most people can't afford going to court, even when they know you're absolutely right, and you'll win the case, and you'll get all your money back. Not a lot of people have got $20, $30, $40, $50,000 to go fight, to say, no, I believe what I believe and I was right saying what I said. So he basically gets people to submit to saying bad things. Don't say bad things about me or my company, or we're going to meet in court. And that's pretty effective most of the time. Most people quiet down. And we've seen on a number of occasions in Santan Valley where people have stood up and said this is wrong, started a website where they just collected information, where people had complaints on. If you remember the Johnson Water Stinks website that was up for a while, more than 100 different people sent in their issues on what they had with this particular utility company. Well, this particular utility company then saw this as, hey, you can't say that, you can't post that. And then they were going to take them to court. They threatened to sue them. So they shut down the website and those things. That's fine, that's their prerogative as business owners. And I respect that, I understand that. But my hope is to, let's treat customers, let's treat the citizens of Santan Valley with a little more respect. Not a lot of us have any idea, does anybody here know who David Rousseau is? David Rousseau is the chairman of SRP, another utility company. You've never heard of it. How many of you have ever got a letter in utility bill from David Rousseau who said he had a problem with the county supervisor? None. It doesn't work like that. Well, the idea of the Pinal Truth Squad is to get facts out there and to kind of let you know more about this particular entity and just kind of tell you, hey, this is the guy you're dealing with. A couple things out here. Can you make this guy go away? A lot of people, hey, get rid of him. Well, that's not going to happen. The utility company is not going to go away. The owner is not going to go away. It doesn't work like that. The goal of Pinal Truth Squad is to make people aware that it's okay to say the truth about anything in this community. Whether it's a utility, anything, a politician, anything you want to say, you can say it without fear of going to court. If it's the truth. If you start spreading lies and slander, then we're going to talk. But you do it to me, well, for me, it's a free game. You can say anything you want about me, apparently. That's just how it works. As a politician comes the job. But we want citizens to feel that they have a place where they can learn what facts are, the facts about an issue, ask questions, receive honest answers, and create a dialogue. Now, when we talk about truth, a lot of times we focus on the negative things. Well, this doesn't have to be all negative. If you think you've got a business owner or an entity or anything that's doing a great job, that's a good thing. We want to hear about that. We want this place to feel like it's a community. When I came into my job here, this area was known as the town of Queen Creek. It was known as Queen Creek, not town of Queen Creek, just Queen Creek. And 80,000 people out here thought they moved into a place that was Queen Creek because the zip, what was the zip out here? 85242. This was all 85242 for years. So when they got out here and they went to the library and they said, hey, I need a library card. And they said, well, where do you live? I live in Queen Creek. What's your address? Town of Queen Creek. Oh yeah, I live in Circle Cross. I live in Santan Heights, you know? It's right there. It's just down the street. And they're like, it's $50. Like, $50? Yeah, you don't live in the town of Queen Creek. No, that's what my mailing address says. I live in Queen Creek. It's on my driver's license, everything. Created big problems. So what we started to do was create a community here, give you an identity. Now was that process perfect? Coming up with anything? No, it was flawed at best. Flawed at best. There were some resource issues and some timing issues where it was rushed. Knowing what I know today and knowing how the post office works, because the post office still doesn't have it right, we would have had a more robust, long-term campaign funded through the community to give you a name. The bottom line for me was the name really wasn't important. Whatever the name was, you gotta get moving. You gotta coalesce around an identity. So when I tell somebody, I have 80,000 people that live in this community, they don't look at me like, where do they live? By the way, they still do that. They still don't know that Santan Valley is out here. They may have heard of it, and then when I tell them there's 80,000 people out there, they don't believe me. These are the guys like Dan Harkins for movie theaters. 80,000 people, you know. Chapman Chevrolet, 80,000 people, there's no way. They would rather put a car dealership in Miami with 5,000 people than put one over here. It's the craziest thing ever. Bottom line is, I'm trying to pull this community together. We need to try to pull this community together, and we need to feel that we have control, at least an equal say in how we're treated. One of the things about the Pinal Truth Squad is there are entities out there who really should treat us better. They really should. My hope at the end of the day is that Mr. Johnson decides, you know, my tactic of being the guy with the heavy hand and saying, nope, this is how it's going to be, maybe he'll take a different tack and be our friend and not the enemy, because in so many arenas, Mr. Johnson is seen as the enemy. David Rousseau from SRP, he's not the enemy. He's just the guy who runs that other small utility company. My hope is that Mr. Johnson changes the way he approaches our citizens. You don't have to be the bad guy. You have a monopoly. He's your water guy. That's all there is to it. No one's going to buy out his company. They're not going to come in and change it. Treat your citizens better, treat your customers better, and provide a product that they're happy with. I don't know the numbers of how many of our citizens, how many of his customers are dissatisfied at some level with the quality of their product. I know a large number of citizens who are dissatisfied with the price of this product. But I will tell you, the price is not regulated by him. It's not his call. He can ask for more. The Corporation Commission determines the price that he charges for the product he delivers. So my hope is that he creates a better product that matches his price point and treats his citizens better, so they feel that we're working together. Invariably, we always seem to be working against, in some capacity, against George Johnson and Johnson Utilities, and that's not what this community is about. This community is really working hard every day to come together. And we are. We've got our issues that we're working on in our businesses, we've got political issues, we've got personal issues, like all communities do, and we're trying to get it together. I'll finish up with this, and then I'll take your questions. This community, average age in Santan Valley is 28 years old. 28. People moved out here for a cheap house when gas was $1.98 a gallon. They moved out here and they said, this is a great investment. It's a great house. I can get 3,000 square feet for $120,000. This is where we're planting our roots. Because I just moved from Gilbert, and this is just down the street from Gilbert, so this is going to be just like Gilbert. And then they got here, and they're like, this ain't like Gilbert. You know, the grocery store, you had one. There was a time we didn't even have a gas station out here. For those that remember back that far, and it wasn't that long ago. In 2000, the year 2000, there were 4,000 people that lived in Santan Valley. In 10 years, we have 80,000 people. Our hospital, we have a great hospital. That hospital delivers, Banner Ironwood, delivers 3 babies a day. That's a kindergarten class a week. In 4 years, I can tell you, I don't have enough schools. This community does not have enough schools. In 4 years, we're out of schools. I don't have enough classrooms for all the kids that are going to stay and populate this community. We need to get these numbers in our heads and figure out where the future is and what we want to look like when we grow up. And I understand that at an average age of 28, what are most people worried about? How am I getting back and forth to work? Am I going to have time to go to the Little League game to see my kid play ball? Do I have enough ball fields for my kids? Just so you know, we have the largest Little League district in the state of Arizona. We have more Little League baseball players in Santan Valley as a district than any other Little League district in the state of Arizona. And I don't have enough fields for them. I saw some kids the other day, they had coaches, they were in a little retention basin. It wasn't 80 feet wide. These kids, they got all these little t-ball things set up there, and the cars are parked up on the hill, and all these little kids are down in this grass retention basin, and that's where they're practicing their baseball. We have great need in this community. We need to come together. The Pinal Truth Squad is about exposing facts about people who don't treat this community the way I think this community needs to be treated. And I think that most of you that are in this room, mostly Santan Valley, believe that we should be treated with respect. We deserve it. We came out here looking for a good quality of life, and I think it's worth fighting for. And that's what it's all about. So we'll see where it goes. This is all we're doing. It's a 501c4. It's the nonprofit. 501c4s are not, you don't have to divulge who your donators are. You're like, well, why would you do that? People out here are scared. There's a gal that lives just down the street here, over here on Thompson, Bambi Sandquist. Bambi Sandquist was an activist in this community for years and years and years. She came out a couple years ago against George. Ooh, she got really vocal. You know where she got vocal? Did she get out on the streets and everything? No, she got vocal in a blog, in a news app. In a blog, a crappy blog that not 1,000 people read. George Johnson nailed her to the wall. I told her about this, and she's like, I'm not going anywhere near that guy. She doesn't have the resources to fight it. A 501c4 gives you the ability to be part of something that tries to level the playing field. It gives you that separation that you need to say, hey, I think you're wrong. As long as you're telling the truth, you have no fear. You have no fear. Again, you start spreading stuff that's not true, you're on your own. And this is something that we're about. So if you tell the truth, you still may end up in court. Not you, I will. I know I'm going to court. I know I'm going to court on this, because that's just the way he works. I don't have any fear. I'm surrounded by the truth. And we have the resources now, because of people in the community and businesses in the community have given us the ability to, hey, go fight. Go. You can say what you need to say as long as it's true, and we'll cover the upfront cost, because we know we'll get it all back when you go to court with this guy. So that's where we're at. So what are your questions today? And I appreciate you coming out. And eat some of this food, please, when we stop here. Yes, Mr. Wolf?
Yeah. What does George Johnson have to do with the little leagues and the school and that in Santan? I don't understand. You're saying George Johnson is a fraud.
George businesses that treat our citizens.
He doesn't have anything to do with the schools or the little league, does he?
No, but this community, I'm setting the tone for what this community is, where it's at today. And when people are working against this community or not helping this community, that's problematic.
What does Florence have to do with Santan Valley? Their
Well,
politics.
actually, Florence has a lot to do with Santan Valley. If you know the history of this community was working towards having an election to let the citizens decide whether they were going to incorporate or not. And that's all it was. It wasn't a yes or no. It was, do you deserve the right to vote on it? That's where it was at. Well, Florence, perfectly legal, decided, no, you guys don't need to do that right now. We can't afford for you to do that right now, which is fine. And the mayor is on record, and Mayor Vicky is a very dear friend. I believe she probably misspoke when she said that those people are bad people. I don't know that was her intent, and I'm sure she would take it back. Because again, Mayor Vicky is a very dear friend. But there is a level of animosity that should not exist between the two communities, because you are neighbors, and you will grow together, you will flourish together. And that's what brings Florence into this mix. And George Johnson is a tie to both communities. And George Johnson has, in my very humble opinion, has undue influence over both communities.
It seems more like a vendetta.
I
may be way off.
Yeah, and you're right. Well,
like
for those that have seen my name in their utility bill every month for the last 3 years, maybe it was time just for a little, tit for tat, as it is. I'm not saying what he's doing is right. I'm putting out facts. He writes whatever he wants. So, what other comments you got?
He did give us a library.
He did not give you a library. He gave you a double wide trailer that was inappropriately zoned. That he doesn't even have the gumption to put Santan Valley on the front of it. What's the address? Go look at the sign next time. He doesn't even call it Santan Valley. That's Queen Creek address on that place. That's how pissed off he is. It was token. I wish he would make a great, beautiful community library. There are 80,000 people here.
Well, it's better than paying $50 to take.
Amen. I'll give you that. Amen. Even though for $50, that's a fantastic facility, but that facility costs about 20 times more than the trailer over here. I'm not.
It's a start.
Amen. It is a start.
And it's better than driving to AJ or to Casa Grande.
George Johnson, in 1 year, it's reported that he made $77 million in 1 year building homes out here. $77 million. God bless him. This is capitalism. $77 million. Now, what is he giving back? He's giving you a $200,000 library that he already had. So, okay, he gave you, so we'll call it $200,000. What else has he given to this community that he lined his pockets with? He is very wealthy, and he's earned it not just here but other communities. But he's very wealthy. What else has he done? He'll tell you he paved on highway, paved a road. How the heck else am I going to drive to the houses I'm building out here? If the county doesn't have the resources to drive out and buy a house, he had to pay for it if he wanted people to drive out to the houses. So the bottom line is, I wish he would put just a percent, 1% of what he's made on this community into this community, really. Not $5,000 to a Boys and Girls Club or a YMCA here or $10,000 here. No kidding, step up. Let's see what you got. If you really want to be part of this community, do it. Because I tell you, he can afford it. So, but you're right, I shouldn't take anything away. He did contribute. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And I appreciate that.
With the big tax deduction, probably too.
I
don't know that for a
think he got
fact, but
tax
he
write-off
probably
on
did.
that. I don't know. He's got smart business people. What other questions you got today? Surely there's some issues.
Hunt Highway.
Yes. On highway,
I had heard just last week that there's no plans on ever.
you read news app, and that is not true.
No,
Just go to
no,
the
this
link.
was just people,
No.
I guess it was with one of the HOA members on Johnson.
And they read news app. Okay.
Okay.
Hunt Highway. Hunt Highway is a $129 million project. Starts at Empire Ellsworth, just on the curve, right there. That's where Maricopa County and Pinal County are joined, right there. Goes all the way down, and it goes almost all the way to the Florence town limits, which is just this side of Anthem. $129 million project. Within the last 2 years, we've put 3 new traffic lights on Hunt Highway: Coffer Basin, Thompson, and Johnson Ranch, coming out of the school there by Walkerview. 3 new traffic lights on it. We've restriped the majority of it, and starting this summer, we are going to put $5 million on the road out in front of us here, starting at Empire Ellsworth and going about 1,000 feet past Thompson. $5 million for 2 miles of road, which is the craziest thing I've ever heard, but there are a bunch of water issues that we have to deal with, movement of water. So Hunt Highway remains the #1 priority for roads in all of Pinal County. It's just they keep taking our money. The state legislature keeps taking our HERF money, Highway User Revenue Funds. These are the monies that we get to work on roads. So the $5 million, do you know where that $5 million came from? It came from Bryan Martyn going to Washington, D.C. and pounding on doors and begging congressmen, we need money, we need money, we need money. That's where that came from, which is what your representatives need to do. Go out and beat the streets. But that's where it is. So people say, we're not putting money in Hunt Highway. We're putting all the money we can and then some into Hunt Highway.
Oh, we just want to know when, because
It's gonna be wider.
you drive.
It's gonna be wider.
It will be wider.
Yeah.
It will be wider. Now wait a minute. I love this one. So do you remember when Hunt Highway used to be 3 lanes on both sides and had a median? You don't remember that? Because it never was. You moved out here, it had 2 lanes or 1 lane. That's how it was. It doesn't happen like that. It costs money to make these things. People out here in Santa Valley think that they're supporting the county. Trust me, you're not supporting the county. All the resources are going elsewhere because we're 80,000 people. Trust me, you have your own expenses here. I got a lot of road, I got a lot of issues to deal with in this 80,000 member community. So it's not well, somebody else, our money's not going here. Trust me, your money's coming here and then some. You want to talk about people who spend more than what they get? Set up Gold Canyon. Look at property values in Gold Canyon and then look at how many roads they have. And then if we went dollar for dollar, you pay this much in taxes, how much do you get for roads? No, that money goes to the county pool. And the county pool right now says Hunt Highway is #1. Yes?
Last week I was at a meeting and listening to a man talk that every time we buy gas, other than Pinal County, the taxes that are on that gas go to wherever we buy. So from now on, every time you buy gasoline, make sure it's in Pinal County to help Hunt Highway's money.
Amen. Our highway user revenue funds, all those HERF monies, and beat on your state legislators. Legislators are notorious the last 2 years for sweeping HERF money. HERF money. Dude, you're killing me. That's all I got. I've got over 1,000 miles of dirt roads in Pinal County. We're 5,386 square miles. We're the size of Connecticut. More than half our population live in unincorporated areas. I got 1,000 miles of unpaved roads, and the EPA is breathing down my back for dust. Remember that big haboob we saw that swept over Pinal County? That must have been from some farmers or some dirt bike riders, I imagine. At least that's what the people in Virginia must think. We have big issues with dust out here, and paving roads is one of the ways that you help to mitigate that. You're never going to stop it, but that's what Washington wants you to do. Right now, the President, Barack Obama, has put the EPA on hold. It says, leave the dust issue alone for a while. Thank the Lord, because they were on track to put us in an area called non-attainment, where we would have been forced to start paving all the dirt roads, including the driveways over 300 feet long. So if you live on 5 acres and you have a nice 400, 500 foot driveway to your house, guess what? By law, you're going to be required to pave that. Crazy stuff. It's not gone, it's just on hold. These are the issues we deal with in Pinal County. Mr. Kentowski.
Do they still have the monitors? I know
Yeah.
before they have monitors around the county that they go by what they call PM10, and you have to be within certain compliance in that. And if you're not, I don't know exactly what they do, but I know if you're not in compliance with it, it's got something to do with highway funds.
You
and
can be
all that
fun.
stuff.
Come on through. Come on through.
It's fine.
You're not enthralled? I figured you'd sit there and tell it, you know.
Trying to do a job there.
Thank you.
Thanks, have a great night.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out to Santan Flat. Thanks for spending money in Pinal County.
Oh, yeah.
Go to Washington. But you gotta be in compliance with that PM10. I don't know the exact penalty, but I know you get a penalty. The county
You can be held, well, you can be held in non-attainment, and then it gets ugly. We're not going to get into the nuts and bolts of PM10 and PM2.5, but dust mitigation is a big deal in Pinal County. Big deal in Arizona, but big deal in Pinal County.
The GPA, yeah.
What other questions do you have for us? Surely there's some more questions. Go ahead, Stacey.
I just was curious, since I'm making some notes here. Since you're the sitting county supervisor, why do you feel it's appropriate to wage this war against Mr. Johnson? Like, if that's your agenda, why don't you just resign and wage that battle and not do it from a public seat?
I haven't purported to be a county supervisor in any capacity on this argument. I said I'm a Santan Valley citizen. I have the ability to...
Are you a homeowner or a renter?
I'm a renter. I don't own a home at all anymore. This job took care of that right away.
Okay.
Actually, yeah. The pay cut that we took with this job, yeah, took care of that.
And then what about the press accounts for Curtis, the four corporations behind the website who have admitted to investing money?
Business owners. There are a number of businesses that have invested in the Pinal Truth Squad, and citizens.
The mine that wants to go into Florence that's been investing into the website, is that
Yes,
correct?
that's true. That's true. They have contributed to the 501c4 and basically trying to level the playing field. They just want everybody to play nice.
But why would we want, you were on salt, correct?
Yeah, I was on the salt.
Okay,
Yes.
so you, for people that don't know what that is, it's preserving the...
Superstitionary land trust.
So, when you lived over there, you were a part of that, correct?
Yeah.
So why would we want to protect our area? Why would we want to stop a mine from coming in?
The issue's not about the mine. The issue is about getting accurate information about the mine, and that's what the bottom line is. Where are the truths in everything that's going on?
I'm
But where are the
concerned
truths?
about the water table.
I agree. As everybody should be. We all need to be concerned about the water table. How do you mitigate that risk? How much is the risk? Is it worth the risk? Is the process. Not the fear-mongering that's going on. Oh, you're all going to die. Nothing's going to be populated. Nothing will grow. It's horrible. It's all these things. Stop. That's where I was at. Stop. Let's talk about fact. In fact, let's go to hydrologists. Let's talk to people who actually know this. Now, maybe in your heart of hearts, you're like, I don't care what the experts say. I don't like it. I don't like the risk. I'm a no. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Me? I'm a guy, tell me more. Tell me more. I want to listen not to people who have an axe to grind or who are trying to continue to unduly influence the community and protect whatever they're protecting. I want facts. Hydrologists, tell me about this process. Where is it done? How's it done? EPA, how do we mitigate this? Okay? How are you going to do it? Okay? What happens if something goes south? Let's work some scenarios. If this goes south. Is this like nuclear waste? Or is this something that's going to take 6 months to flush or wash, or 6 years, or 60 years? I don't know that answer.
Well, I think they're going to be using acid, is that correct? Strip mining?
No, see, the great thing. Strip mining. Where in the world did that come from? That has never been part of the equation. Strip mining is a brutal, invasive process that we've seen in Arizona. This is not that. This is another process altogether. It's called in situ. You know how you'll know that mine is there? Because there'll be trucks going in and out. Now that's an issue to think about too.
Going up and down Hunt Highway?
And Hunt Highway, they'll head out to 79. So they won't come through Santan Valley, but they'll head out to 79. And oh, by the way, we do have some rail access, and we can expand some of that, but that's all theoretical. We'll see where that goes. So that's an issue to think about. That's an issue. How many trucks, how often, those things, those are good questions. But strip mining, nobody said strip mine, but because it's so full of rhetoric and emotion, that's what comes to your head. And I'm like, stop! Tell me about this. Facts. Is it good or bad based on process, based on science, not based on, in my heart, I just don't buy it, I'm out. I don't get paid to do that. I get paid to look at facts. And when I determine that there's enough facts to make an educated decision, I'll make that decision. And that's always been my position, by the way. Facts.
Wait, one more time.
One more time. You talking about EPA again?
No, I wanted to make a response. I feel offended because you asked if we're renters or if you were a lease or a homeowner. I lease in Santan Valley. I moved here 2 years ago from Apache Junction. That doesn't make me less of a citizen. I choose to spend my time in Santan Valley, whether I lease or homeowner. Right now, I'm forbidden to buy another home by law for 2 years to 5 years because I lost my home in a short sale. So whether you're a leaser or a homeowner, I realize you have more at stake if you're a homeowner, but I choose to spend my time, my money, and everything else. And that shouldn't make a difference as far as how we should be treated in this area. Whether you're a renter or a leaser or an owner shouldn't make any difference.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Did you have anything else? Don't feel, you're not offended by our conversation, are you?
No.
Because I'm pretty direct most of the time. All right, anything
I was
else?
just curious if you're being paid by this group
Being paid?
to lead this group.
Not right now. Not right
Is
now.
that something you're considering? What's your supervisor?
We'll see. We'll see. It's not my options. I have some other things that I'm looking at right now. But no, I'm not being paid by Curious.
And how do we know that you're not being paid by this group that's funding this
I don't know. I mean, there's no legal way for you to see. It's just, no, I'm not being funded by Curious.
Okay, or by the group being paid by this, but the 401 or 501c.
My money does come through my funds do come through the 501c4.
So you're being paid by the group.
Yes.
Okay.
Who's going to go to court? What other questions you got? Surely, sir. Michael.
So if everything with Curious was to come back and the EPA was to say that the environmental impact is minimal, what would the economic impact of Pinal County be for the citizens? And how much of that could go towards funding the repair of the highway?
Well, you know, there'd be millions. And the reality is, sorry, bro. The reality is, think of what could happen in Florence. Think of the development agreements you could come up with. Say, I need better schools, I need more ball fields, I need this. You have a multi-million-dollar corporation that stands to make a lot of money. If I were the one negotiating this, I would put all the onus on EPA. Dude, if you can figure out how to get past those knuckleheads, knock yourself out. Just in case you do, I want the moon. I mean, I need my downtown. I need $10 million invested in Main Street tomorrow. That's how I would approach the problem. But I would still put all the onus on EPA because those are the experts. Now, whether you trust them, if you don't trust the EPA, then we're done. The argument's over. That's where it is. I'm sticking with experts, and there is value in your gut decision. It's like, I just can't buy it. That's cool, there's value in that. But there's a process. There's a vote, we'll talk about it. That's where city councils, that's what they get paid to do. But, so that's
And
about
it's
it.
not just the EPA that's looking into.
No, there's so many.
EDQ and there's other organizations.
There's
that are
19
trying to
different permits
verify.
that are required before you do anything.
Right.
And every one of them has got to come up with a reason, try to give you reasons why they should let you do this. They're just putting all the no's out there. Until you meet this laundry list, you can forget about it. So you go down and you start nugging and chugging and knocking out all these things. And when you get to one that you can't do, there's no waiver for that. Sorry. Go do it somewhere else.
So then what is the argument against allowing this to happen by
Right here.
utility company?
Right here. The
By
passion.
utility company.
Utility.
What's the argument against? With
Uh,
all these
5 billion
regulations
gallons of
leading up to
sulfuric-
yeah. The passion of the issue that's either supported or not through fact. And that's where we need more fact out there. And even with the fact, if you don't buy the facts, because this is that's fine. That's where you'll say, no, this is a no. I don't believe the EPA can do their job. It's not worth any risk or any level of mitigation that's put forward. I just can't stand it. And that's where it is. And that's okay. Ms. Wall.
Just some facts, since we're on the fact
Amen.
train here. From Curis's own website, the fact is that they will be injecting 15 billion gallons of 5 billion gallons of sulfuric acid into the ground
20 year.
over a 20-year period. Second fact, they will be delivering 15 truckloads of toxic chemicals to their plant every day on Hunt Highway. Another fact is that they received a letter from the Arizona Department of Environmental Quality outlining 88 deficiencies in their permit application that were to have been replied to by September of last year, which they have now tabled and asked for a temporary halt to their requirement. They recently sent a letter to the EPA indicating that one of the monitoring wells that BHP installed in the late 1990s from their original test drilling have shown alert level exceedances of magnesium, sulfates, and total dissolved solids. Now, if that isn't enough fact to warrant those of us who are against the mine to be concerned that this is too great a risk to happen, then I don't know what is.
And how many gallons did you say?
5 billion.
5 billion? 5 billion. That is 250,000 gallons a year.
Too big a figure for me.
2.5 million gallons a year. 2.5 million gallons a year. For 20 years. 2.5 million gallons. 2.5 million gallons of water. A pool is about 25,000 gallons. That's 1,000 pools. 1,000 pools. 1,000 pools. I probably got 20,000 pools sitting out here right now. So let's look at water. The numbers again. Passion. That's a huge number. What does that equal? Like, well, let's put our engage our brain and start dropping it down. Boom, 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 boom. How many gallons per year is that in water? That's 1,000 pools. That's a lot of water.
It's more than 1,000 pools.
It's not the quantity of water, it's the makeup of the liquid itself.
Exactly. It's part of the, you're right.
To make a big.
It's
And they will be traveling on Hunt Highway with this?
Yes.
not with the acid.
Yes, they will.
Well, they'll
How
have
do
to
you
ship
think
it
it's
in.
gonna get there?
They're right.
Where's the exact location of mine? So I
Oh,
can
great. No,
verify?
it's on Hunt Highway. You go past Anthem, you go
But it doesn't
around
go
the
through
curve,
Santan,
and you
is what
keep
you're saying.
No, it won't go through Santan. It'll go out to 79, then kick up north.
So they'll go down,
79, Hunt Highway.
go down to 7th through, but you'll go past Anthem.
Well,
Yeah, past Anthem, on the curve, and you keep going down, and it's on the right. You'll see it on the right, about 4 miles past Anthem.
So by Attaway.
Past that.
Past that? So
Yeah.
it'll be between Attaway and 79.
Yes. Just across the street from F Mountain.
Okay.
Yeah.
I work at Southwest Ambulance.
Okay, so you know the deal. Yeah, so it's right there.
So, but that's, you know how people drive on the road, and that's a 2-lane road, and there's a lot of accidents. 79 is also 2-lane roads, lots of accidents. People aren't paying attention. That's a lot of harsh chemicals. Spills happen. There's not a fire department to respond. It has to be 843 from Copper Basin because that's a dead county area, and Florence won't respond to something like that if it's out of their area.
You know what? That's a great point. You know what you would do to help mitigate that? You would mandate. Guess what, Curious? You want to do this? I need a fire station right there. It's going to cost you $5 million.
And you're gonna have to extend the town limits. And you're
Town
gonna
limits already screwed out there. And
It's
if they-
already
even if
in
they
the
came up with
town
an
limits.
independent,
Because they're
you'll
not-
man this.
It's downtown.
They're not supposed, because Florence doesn't usually respond unless it's, if it's.
I understand. Obviously, if someone's going to put a fire station in, man it, and do all those things, you can do it.
It's gonna cost a lot more than $5 million because you're gonna have to pay salaries,
might as well.
3 different shifts,
It's
4
fine.
people,
These are things.
trucks.
These are points that you need to bring up, and these are things that would be negotiated. So, but it doesn't negate it altogether. You would say, if you want to do this, you need to have this, this, this. If you can't or won't do this, then it's not going to happen. But we're not even to that part of the discussion yet.
But it's just added, I mean, dangerous road, 2-lane roads, lots of chemicals.
Amen. Amen. Things to talk about. Things to talk about.
Is Curious interested in mining in a different way? I know strip mining's got a bad name in California because it used to kill all the trees off. Why
No,
can't they?
this process, the process, and I don't speak for Curious. I know the same amount of information that most of you do from their brochures and stuff. This process is basically the only fiscally responsible way that they can make this project work.
They can't load the rock on a train and take it to Canada?
No, you can't get. We're not gonna let people dig huge holes out here. That's we're not gonna do that.
Fill it up afterward, we have a nice lake.
It's
Yeah.
dissolving the solid in the ground and then they suck it back up.
Yes. It
But-
breaks up the content, based on the
Right.
mixture that you put in.
But according to Curious, it's a closed system. So what they told us, whatever goes down is going to be pulled back up. But they forgot to tell us that they were, at one of the meetings, they were going to put 11,500 gallons down into the ground. And don't quote me. But they were going to pump up 12,000. And somebody on the, who was
The
Larry
Planning
Patrick,
and Zoning.
Planning and Zoning Commission says if that's a closed system, how are you bringing up 500 more gallons than you put down into the ground? And they wanted to know where it was coming from. It was coming from the water aquifers.
No, this is below. And this is below. We're not going to debate the top line. It's well below the water table where these injections
I'm
go
just telling you
to.
what they said.
That's a great point.
And they had to back off and they said, well, we just call it a closed system. So it wasn't a closed system.
Well, good. Then Curious needs to make sure that facts are getting out for their side as well.
Well, not knowing any of the facts myself, I attended a couple of meetings where there were a number of experts talking about facts, and I took my family there because we were interested. We live in Santan Valley, and it was enough to scare me. They weren't trying to, but they were discussing facts. And from what I heard, they could not give me a complete guarantee that this acid would get into the water and affect me because it comes down to Santan Valley. And I don't recall seeing you at those meetings. If you're such, you seem so
Again, it's not about the
against.
compromise. It's not about the compromise. That's not what this is about, Wayne.
But you're talking about the truth. We need to give the facts, and you're
Yeah.
talking about that. And I didn't see you there.
And you said Curtis has given money to this truth about Santan Valley, so there's like an alternate agenda there. They're pumping money into the truth about Santan Valley because they want to get people on their side.
Who's giving all the money to the other side of the equation? Johnson Utilities. That's his. What's their and what's their goal?
Their goal is to prevent the mine from going in so that they can later develop housing on that property,
They have like-
which would be definitely detrimental to that goal if the mine goes in.
They're the largest landowners around there. Them
I
and
know
Pulte.
exactly who they are. And there's a lot of rhetoric in that speech as well, just so you know. And there are experts on the other side of the development world that say that it's just not so. It's just not so.
It's like every other issue, you can always find someone who agrees
You're
with
absolutely
your
right.
position.
You're absolutely right. That's why I'm asking that we look at all sides of this issue. But this Truth Squad, the Pinal Truth Squad, is not about a copper mine.
It's about a vendetta against George Johnson.
I don't know that it's a vendetta. It's about putting up with bully tactics. Enough. Just enough. No more. No more. That's what it is. You can be part of it, or you don't have to be part of it. We'll have this discussion all day. If you don't agree, that's okay. I've definitely learned in this job I can't please everybody
Why aren't you running for re-election?
because I can't afford it. This job doesn't pay enough. I have a freshman in college, 2 seniors, and a junior in high school. I took more than a $50,000 a year pay cut to serve. That was my call. That was my choice. I can't afford to do it anymore. That's why I'm not running.
I have one other question. When we were talking earlier, you know, about the water and the water qualities, it's different from the county and the city.
Yes.
Are you saying that your water here is different than the water I'm getting from Johnson?
Yes, it is. Yes,
It is different.
Yes, it is.
It's not coming out of the same wells or the same?
No, the standards are different. The purification numbers, they're different numbers. Different requirements. More restrictive within a municipality than in the county.
So you're saying at Hampton, we get a better water quality than you're getting here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to clarify.
No, that's
'Cause
true.
After you and I were talking, I got thinking, well, you know,
That's a
we're
true statement. That's
8 miles out of Florence, but we're still in the city of Florence.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we get the water.
From the same place you do, or from
Well,
a
I
different?
didn't even know if we
There
get
are
it from the
wells-
same
there are wells-
town.
There are wells throughout the community. I mean, you have a tank right in front of your place, you know, so that's the water that you get is from that tank right there. So we get our water in this community from all different tanks, and the requirements, the EPA requirements, all the ADEQ requirements, the municipality imposed requirements are more stringent than the county imposed requirements.
I find that hard to believe, you know.
Well, I'm more than happy to get your
Yeah.
numbers if you like.
I just
so.
can't figure out what the difference would be. Why you could give somebody a certain type of water over here, but the guy.
I'm not saying it's night and day. It's not like one water's green and the other one's
Right,
crystal
no, I
clear.
understand that, but I don't
But
understand,
there is,
you know,
there
what
is a
their,
difference. There is a
what the difference it
And
could be.
municipality has that ability. They have that ability to do it.
Because I know, in California, before I retired, I worked for a company. We had like 125 employees. And one year, all of a sudden, the federal government passes a law that if you have over 25 employees, you're considered a water company. So therefore, we had to have a qualified engineer or somebody that had been a water, you know, worked for a water company and had so many years of experience, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year,
Modern water. Yep.
you know. But ours, water was coming out of a well. You know, and I'm just saying, you know,
The water doesn't come straight out of a well.
well, ours did.
It used to in
because
this
ours is
community.
private well.
Well, yeah, I'll give you that. But in the communities, your water has to be treated. There are requirements for treatment of water if it's going
Right,
out in a
I
community.
understand
So
that, yeah.
it's different
Is
there.
that
I
like adding
understand
fluoride?
that.
It's stuff stuff that the government thinks that you need.
Brian, the water is different. I have a well that pumps 2,000 gallons per minute at the Country Thunder property. And when we hold an event, we have to get the water tested every morning. And from year to year, the water has tested different. And the water is tested a lot different than it has for the water up in the Copper Basin area or and I'm not a water expert, but I can tell you this, the water is so much different. And the water testing lab that we go to every day said that our water was so much better than the water that the public wells have. And you try the public wells, that water's terrible. I mean, now we know why Crystal Water and all these water companies are making millions on this bottled water.
Well, we can keep nugging and chugging through this. I'm happy to stay as long. I've still got a ton of food here. If you want to take a 5-minute break and grab some food and then do some more questions, talk, that works. Unless you have something really pressing right now and because you got to go.
What's your final goal? What do you plan to accomplish with the Truth Squad?
I would hope and pray that Mr. Johnson changes his tactics in this community. That it becomes more of an asset instead of being seen as the bad guy all too often. And I would love to. I mean, I've talked to Mr. Johnson for years, literally, to how do we change the way people think about you and your company, and it's a vicious cycle. I've tried. I think just about anybody who's tried to kind of soften that image, all he has to do is show up at a meeting and start yelling at somebody, and all your work goes out the door. And we've all seen that before. If you've been at a meeting with Mr. Johnson, invariably he gets his ire up and then he starts yelling at somebody. Like, that's his prerogative, it's his business, I get it.
I sold a home, well, I was trying to sell a home in Copper Basin, and Johnson Utilities came out to turn on the water, and the ball valve was broke to the house. But the person that turned on the water from Johnson Utilities, you know, if the water is going, the meter's going to run. The meter's going to show that there's movement in the house, and it's just going. Anyway, the house flooded. My buyers didn't get the house. It was a big issue. Went down to Johnson Utilities and asked them, why didn't you see the meter running? Why didn't he stop and turn it back off? And, you know, she got some paperwork out from the back and said, you know, they're there for this many seconds and it didn't run and blah, 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 and we have nothing, it's not our problem. Anyway, I let it go after being told I was going to be sued as a real estate agent for, anyway, beside that. Then I hear more homes being flooded. Same thing. Johnson Utilities comes out, turns the water on. So me as a real estate agent has to sit back and I wish I could ask everybody that's out there that's selling houses to people, how many times has this happened?
Are they turning it on, you say?
But you
When
can't
they turned
because
it
you'll
on.
get sued.
Why?
When they turned it on, they closed the ball valve off to the house, the main ball valve, shut-off valve. That wasn't working. And the water continued to flow into the house, and somebody had the refrigerator valve on, so it flooded the whole house. And then I keep hearing, you know, same thing happened to my friend, same thing happened to my friend. And this house sat there and rotted for weeks, mold, everything. I mean, there was nothing anybody can do because of the insurance companies. But I just would like to know how many homes this has happened to.
Well, that's a great point. I'll finish with this, and then you get food, and I'll hang around. The point is, you know, what has Mr. Johnson done for this community? He put it on the map. He really did put it on the map. I'm not going to take away that. He invested when everybody else said, you're crazy, don't invest out there, no one's going to move out there. He put his own money up, he did it, he took the risk, and he got the reward. Good on him. Why does he continue to hold this community back? Why is he leading the charge to keep you from at least having a vote? I'm not saying whether you become a town or not is that important. I personally think it is, but you know what's more important is that you decide. I think you're educated enough to make a decision, say a yes or a no. Can we afford to become a city? That's the basic question. And that's where you decide. And this guy decided, no, you're not going to decide today. You're not smart enough for that. I got this. This is my community. I built it. That's my problem. Stacy.
What if we become a...
Oh, sorry, there's two Stacys.
What proof is there of that he's the one who supposedly squashed the corporation?
Because I was there for the two buses that Jim Norton was on, R&R, who works for George Johnson, and they were the ones. They supplied the buses to move the people. To the Capitol, yeah. They rallied the people to get to the Capitol, to go to the committee. A number of citizens of them were in committee, and they talked about this, and his lobbyist, Jim Norton, was the guy who stood up and said, this is unconstitutional. And there was nobody there to say yes or no, and it wasn't. Well, in reality, it was
So
not.
you're talking about after the first incorporation, after it scaled, when they were trying to get it passed to
This was a bill in the legislature that would have allowed the community to move forward in spite of what Florence said.
Prior to that, I guess is what I'm asking.
You know the rules prior to that? The funny thing in the rules prior to that, this is the crazy part. There was a time during GSTAC, Greater Santan Area Coalition, for those that know Santan Valley years ago, George Johnson was one of the front runners for this place needs to incorporate. It's the only way they'll get moving forward. That's fact. So I don't understand what's good sometime and what's not good another time. My bottom line is, you decide. Not the utility owner, not the county supervisor. You decide. You vote on it. And get out of the way. Let the process work. And he jumped right in with both feet and said, no, the process isn't good enough, I'm changing it.
Yes, the lobbyists provide the buses to take people down to the state capitol. Fine, spend your money however you want to spend your money. but with gas prices and things like that, I'm kind of opposed to incorporation because there's a lot more money that you have to throw in, and we just don't have the money to be doing that right now.
Good.
But it's like, hey, if somebody offered me a bus, hey, let's go down to the state capitol, I'm gonna jump on the bus because it's not something I want, but I don't want to pay the gas money to drive down there.
Oh, you can say that. That's a great argument, counselor. But the point is, he did lobby in this community. You saw it in your utility bill every month. He was definitely had his position, and he was pushing that in his. And the thing is, I had a lot of complaints. For him to spend the money to put that letter in his utility bill, where do you think that money comes from? That's your money. Through the Arizona Corporation Commission, those funds go through there. He's never been able to come out and say, I'm putting this out of my pocket. Putting this in many cases, political agenda in your utility bill. Whether it's a white piece of paper, pink, red, that was the colorful part, to get your attention there.
But it's not adding extra money to our bill to put that propaganda in there because the prices are regulated by the Corporation Commission. So
No, you don't know that because there's still the cost associated with putting the product out to the constituent. He's allowed to do that. How much does it cost to make 25,000 pieces of paper, to print 25,000 pieces? I don't know. The point is, he's never itemized it, put in there. Where's this money coming from? And have you ever seen another utility bill that had a hit piece on a business owner or an elected official? Ever? I haven't been around very long, but I've never seen it.
Starbucks. I didn't know the CEO but Howard Schultz sends me emails with his political agenda, telling me to go this way or that way. And I actually sent him, my own email saying, "Hey, look, I didn't sign up for this." Everyone can do that.
If you ask.
No, you can't. It comes in your utility bill. I had people sending them back, taking that piece of paper and taking it down to the office and send it back. Get this out of my utility bill.
But there is also what's going on in the community. It's not all propaganda. That's how we knew the library was coming because it came in that sheet of paper. I mean, it's not all negative.
Amen. That's the thing. Great point, Stacy. He has the opportunity to make it good. Support this community. Don't infight. Don't fight. Don't fight in public. Fight in private. If you're going to fight, fight in private. But in public, be the benevolent one. All the good things going on in Santa Valley. There are plenty of good things going on in Santan Valley and Florence that you could talk about those things all day long. Easily fill one page, 1 8.5 by 11 piece of paper of all the good things. He chooses not to do that. All right, let's take a break here. We can finish up. Thank you. If you want to leave after this, thank you for coming. Appreciate your time. Enjoy some food, and we'll hang out.